Hey guys and gals, Never here from Drake Wing Gaming, and some of you mounts for the Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you with a Let's Play episode of Conway. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump right back into it, shall we? Alarm chain, you were up, and let's go. As the crew springs into action, not a single breath is wasted. They scale the shrouds, practiced efficiency to carry out the orders. Samuel first among them, swift and sure in each movement. They all turn into dark silhouettes, dimly outlined against the twilight sky. I sincerely apologize, sir. I should have reported the cloud earlier. I do not care right now. What I do, however, care about is the question of why you aren't up there with the others yet. Don't tell me that not only have you lost your sight, but your hearing along with it. You know him well enough, and you are smart enough not to open your muzzle again and let your actions speak instead. Without hesitation, you dart past the ship's boats and onto the shrouds. The more seasoned sailors outpace you, but in the few days you have been here, you've gained some degree of confidence in your movements. As you ascend along with the others, the thin rat lines catch between the pads of your paws. The wind tugs at your fur more and more the higher you go, and your feline vision can just about make out the wide, dark pillar of rain awaiting the ship. The telltale sound of the sail luffing reaches your ears even before you arrive. The other is already in the process of loosening, preparing to hoist it. You climb onto the main top and continue your journey up until you reach the upper topsail. Although you are not afraid of heights, you try not to look down while carefully taking your position on the upper topsail yard. Samuel is right beside you, coordinating the crew and leaning over to the yard to check the progress along its length. There you are! Initially, you don't respond, focused on catching up with the others, but as your section of the sail slackens, you turn to face Sam. I didn't mean to fall asleep. Now it's his turn to momentarily ignore you. His command echoes from across the deck. Pull up the sail! You hoist with the others. I know. But you did. And now we're scrambling to reef the sails before our masts get torn apart. For fuck's sake, you cannot fall asleep when you're assigned the weather watch. Not at night, when most of your watchmates struggle to match your vision. You take a steadying breath and renew your efforts to raise the sail to the first reef line. I know. It comes out almost like a whisper at first, and you repeat yourself. I know. I wouldn't be so tired if Arthur weren't on my ass all day since the moment we set sail. Barely got any sleep the last few days. If it isn't hard enough to get used to the schedule, then I have him breathing down my neck. Where every single fart of mine is scrutinized. You feel the urge to vent your frustrations. You feel the urge to vent your frustrations simmer, longing to hurl something into the dark sea below, to punch something, anything to let off the steam that has been building for the past week and change. But the weight of the sail denies you that pleasure as it sits heavy in your arms and you strain to haul it up to the second reef line. Look at the great case you're making for yourself by putting the whole ship in tank. I know, goddammit! You spit back at him as your frustrations start boiling over. I know. Suddenly the first mate's bellow echoes up the mast below. I didn't realize this ship had a crew of cabin boys who can't reef a sail. You better start making some progress before I put those supple hands of yours to work on the nearest street corner once we reach port. I wanted those sails up yesterday. Down below you can see more men rushing on deck. The last of the starboard watch must have been woken up and gotten dressed to assist. You heard the man. Show us some pride and put your backs into it. Your arms are starting to seriously hurt, but you are so close to getting the sail where it needs to be. Samuel fastens his section before leaning over to help you pull yours the last bit, holding it steady so you can tie it off securely. Look at me. You do. I know it's not easy on you. I know he's hounding you too much, but the last thing you want to do is give him a reason to feel justified. And that is exactly what you have done. Maybe if he actually trusted me, that I wouldn't be worn down to the bone. Because yesterday he called me out of bed during my free time to drag me in for an inspection of how I greased the mast. This guy's paranoid enough to double-check my slushing work. So, your slushing sucks ass. I would double-check it. You pause, considering a retort, but ultimately decide against it. Your gaze follows him as he shuffles back toward the mast, preparing to descend to the ship's deck again. We need to get to the foremast next, so get yourself over there. He gestures over to the sails in the foremast that are still catching the wind and strain against the ship's rigging. You follow close behind. The shrouds become crowded as the top men receive their call to repeat the process for both the fore and the mizzen masts. The wind picks up with each passing minute. The dark thunderhead cloud shimmers faintly with the pale blue of the sky as the sun edges ever closer to the horizon. What once was a faint cloud on the horizon now towers in front of the ship, urging the crew into double-time efforts. You hurry towards the ship bow, waiting for your chance to grasp the shrouds. As you begin your climb of the foremast, you feel the first drops of rain spatter against your snout. Once the yard is lowered and everyone is in position, Samuel resumes his command. All right, boys, let's see what you got. Otherwise, I'll tell the cook that you won't be needing those meat rations in the future. On my command. Reef sail! You start your effort on the dot, along with the rest, and start pulling in the heavy sail. Inch by inch, pound by pound, progress is made as the elements slowly begin to grow more intense around you. Your tail, which you use to aid your balance up here, grows heavy as it soaks up the rain. So do your clothes as they cling wetly to your body, and, worst of all, so does the sail itself. The last thing you need while the ship unrelentingly continues on its course. You work side by side in a stern silence, just concentrating on pulling in the sail bit by slow bit. The silence allows plenty of space for thoughts to creep into your mind. Thoughts about what could have happened, what could still happen. The wails of straining timber reverberate through every corner in your consciousness, a sudden crack threatening to deafen you. Your eyes shift their focus past the sail and there's Samuel. Right there, falling, eyes wide with bone-chilling terror, hand outstretched, reaching for you, desperately, trying to grab your hand as the dark depths loom below. A splash barely visible amidst the choppy sea. Gone. Forever. You shake your head to quell your thoughts from running wild. You break the silence with Samuel. Apologize. Sam? He perks up the ear that's facing you, but doesn't answer beyond that. You pick up on it without him having to ask aloud for you to continue. I wanted to say that I'm sorry I fell asleep, and for putting you all in danger. He answers without turning to you, while he secures another part of the sail in the yard. Good. You should be. Now get on with it, because if we don't do this quickly enough, we may soon have the mizzen flying over our heads if the wind turns bad enough. His voice begins to sound ragged under the strain. At least you're not the only one. I assume they'll want us to raise and lower the topsails and courses as well. At least partly. Your eyes wander from one sail to the next. A lot of work waiting for us. Aye. Why? Don't tell me you need a break already. Another heavy lift of the sail follows before you can respond. You're one to talk. Listen to yourself starting to huff. He waves you off dismissively and almost loses his grip on the sail. The snap reaction, he catches it and balances himself skillfully. His leg acts as a counterweight as the braces swing out behind him. You have to adjust your own balance as your section of the braces pulled back, forcing you to lean further over the yard. See? You give him a playful bump with your elbow. It just slipped. What are you implying? Nothing. That I'm not good enough? No, nothing. Sorry. He does not seem to be in his usual playful mood. Some time passes before you secure the sail in its close reef position. As before, he assists you by holding you and the sail steady against the heeling motion of the ship. And the assistance was thoroughly needed by this point. The wind and rain intensify as the ship now continues to navigate under the thick clouds. Gone are the sunny days and fair winds. Instead, just a few days in and you are battling the forces of nature. And you begin to realize the limits of your abilities as you struggle to secure the sail, even with Samuel's assistance. When you're done, the yard is decorated with a few claw marks of yours etched into it for posterity, although by the looks of it they are in good company. Samuel signs to you to stay put for the moment and let the others descend first, conveniently giving you a moment of rest as the both of you lean across the yard together. You look down. The deck of the ship looks looking frighteningly small from this height. Fortunately, vertigo is not something you have to deal with, but the building chop of the sea, the utter darkness of it, right below you while the heel of the ship causes the mast to hang off to the side. One wrong move. You make sure you hold on to the yard a little tighter. She'll make it. You look over at Samuel, who is looking up at the towering cloud above. The problem isn't the clouds ahead. She can weather anything if we're prepared. The problem is that your screw-up left us ill-prepared. Thanks. Just telling it like it is. Don't expect me to coddle you. As a passing sailor brushes past, you tuck your tail in, allowing him space. Look over your shoulder and watch him slip back to the mast from the outer edges of the yard. Looks less crowded now. Let's get down. He nods toward the mast, stepping along the brace just like the other sailor before. He climbs onto the shrouds. Nope, I picked the right decision there. You follow each foothold, precarious. The lines grow slippery, and the ship's heel doesn't make it any easier. Samuel waits on the deck below, tracking your descent. Once you set foot on it, you both hurry along the length of the ship back to the mizzen mast. Even the deck is becoming treacherous for you, the wet surface leaning off to the side and the swell of the waves rocking the ship strongly enough to threaten your balance. You don't have to go up for this one, you know. I may be pissed right now, but the last thing I want is to walk by your empty hammock during this trip. Conditions are getting a little nasty, and by now you've felt just how much rougher it's going to be up here. We'll be fine without you this time. You climb up the deck and help them. I'm part of the crew, just like everyone else, and I'm the reason we are in the position in the first place. The least I can do is lend a hand, instead of sitting around counting the knots in the planks. You grab the shrouds and climb onto the gunwale, getting ready to climb up to the mizzen mast. Just be careful, alright? I will, Sam. You're going where exactly? Arthur doesn't address you by name, but since you've been the target of his ire so often the past few days, you immediately snap in his direction. Going to reef the sails as ordered, sir. He shakes his head and approaches the gunwale, laying his palm on it. Samuel looks at him in the same way until Arthur gives a quick nod to signal that he may go up and continue his work. You will stay. Conditions are getting too treacherous. But sir, I don't want to be the one who both caused this mess and then sits idly by while the others clean it up. Besides, I'm one of the crew of this ship, just like them. I shouldn't be exempt from the jobs they're doing. Isn't that what you want? For me to prove myself? To prove that I'm cut out for this and not just someone who screws up everything I lay my hands on? He considers your case in a lingering silence, raindrops pelting his head as he looks at you. Like Samuel before, he instructs you with a simple, authoritative nod. But instead of nodding up the mast, the nod is directed back down to the deck of the ship. Get back down. That is an order. You cling to the shrouds for a moment longer before obeying his command, guiding your paws back to the firm wooden deck. I could have done it, sir. Quiet. I've seen enough of you up there to know that I'm not willing to risk it, recruit. Not just risking you, but potentially endangering whoever would have to help you if things go awry. Stupidity may have been the way you impressed your friends back home, but it doesn't hold water on the ship, boy. That insult to injury, you notice that both Julian and Wolf are up there with the rest, but now bathed in the first rays of faint purple and orange as the sun creeps over the horizon. Sir? You notice his eyes find you even though he keeps facing up the mast. Yes? I want to apologize. I messed up. Only now does he turn to face you fully. That you did. I was tired and exhausted and frustrated and just... You falter and struggle to find the right words. It's all just frustrating. Frustration that you wish Arthur would just get. That he would simply understand and consider your point of view of the situation for even just one moment. There's no excuse for it. He responds firmly, the intensity returning to his eyes as he listens to your excuses. You had your duties and you didn't see them through. It's not even that you simply did not fulfill them to complete satisfaction. No, you completely disregarded them. You completely disregarded my orders. The good of the ship, the lives of the crew. Not only for mine, but for your own sake, I hope that nothing happens. It is not a burden even you should be forced to carry. He reaches for the cuff of his jacket, now so wet that it sticks to his wrist, and undoes one of the buttons to loosen it. Before he addresses you again, he raises his voice and shouts a command to the crew working on the mizzen mast, lowering his voice again afterward. Recruit? Yes, sir? You know where our next port of call will be. Mogador in Morocco, sir. Why? He looks down and turns to you. You know much about Morocco, recruit? I do not. A country rather unlike the one you grew up in. Some of our crew call it their home. A rather beautiful country, if I may say so. I'm not sure I follow, sir. I was your age once, a young landsman trying to make an impression. For a moment it almost seems as if he is opening up to you. The voice softens as he begins to reminisce, but only after a moment or two you notice a subtle twitch in his features, and just like that the usual firmness returns. I made mistakes, too. There's a stark difference between a young recruit trying to learn the ropes and someone like you. Someone who, for whatever reason, always finds himself at the center of trouble. He crosses his arms, one finger drumming a steady rhythm against the bulk of his other forearm. I've been keeping an eye on you. Not only by myself, but I've asked the crew how you're performing as well. But they might observe you doing during your days. You seize the moment left by a pause of his and let down your words step in. Sir, with all due respect, that is exactly why I've been struggling. I've been run ragged by... You lean in to defend yourself, but are immediately ignored by Arthur as he dismisses you with a simple closing of his eyes. You've been given every opportunity. No, you've been given more than that. But today you've crossed the line, boy. I can no longer allow you to endanger the rest of my crew. I'll make the necessary arrangement with the captain, and as soon as we reach Morocco, you'll be let go. Damn. Well, that's no good. Oh, boy. Oh, well. I assume the story is still going to take another turn, other than just being left in Morocco, but alright. Alright, anyway, y'all, thank y'all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and check out our Patreon if you can. It always helps. Before I go, I'm going to give a quick shout-out to our lovely bronze tier patrons. Thank y'all if I do for the channel. We greatly appreciate your support. Thank you to our silver tier patron, Kate Summer. Thank going above and beyond. It's greatly appreciated. Thanks to our 2 gold tier patrons, Zeke and Toby. Y'all are awesome. We love you. Thank you for subbing to Ultimate Tier. Anyway, if y'all want to get your names in the credits, get access to all of our Not Safe for Work contents as little as $5. Alrighty, I love you all, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye!